Have to always be honest because honesty is the best production for lies to start making up. It's a great afternoon, always. And to anybody who's new here, welcome to Unity. The video with Peace and the Rage being the Mass video, that's at 4.3 views, I think, or something like that. But I mean, to all the people who've been here from the start, I mean, that's major. Somebody may say, nigga, you happy over 4.3K views? Man, please, I done did more than that. Congrats. You know, because we all start somewhere. And that's why the journey of just making videos consistently, the work will have to transpire. It will have to start spreading itself outwards or outwardly when you are understanding where you are going and what you are focusing on. Because no matter what, you don't ever want to just sit there and ponder over what you have accomplished, because at that point it's not an accomplishment anymore. What does that mean? This whole video is about forgiving the things that never happened but are happening, will happen, and have already happened in your life that you have already seen playing out before. You will see a car drive slowly because they're being nosy. Either way it goes, mind your business. When it comes to forgiveness, and forgiveness in this realm is really hard to come by because many people cannot forgive themselves and what they have did and what they will continue to do, because people are doing things that they are regularly doing on a certain basis because nobody has told them about their works or their actions. Please do not park your car. Fucking crazy, bro. You see what I mean? As you understand what forgiveness has done to itself, forgiveness or the action of forgiveness or the act of forgiving does not know how to forgive itself. That's exactly why no matter what you come across, you have to always make sure that you study the forgiveness, and then you make sure that wherever it's going, you find out how it can love itself again, because that's the whole form of needing to be forgiving in the first place. And I'm saying that because a lot of things that I have done in my life or that I've witnessed even from last night, just for an example, because, and I feel like too, if you can't forgive, it's like an emotion-based feeling. Like yesterday, you know, in our house or whatever, excuse me, it was my brother, me, our roommate, and then this girl that I know. And she just stopped by or whatever, and we was just chatting, we was just talking it up or whatever. We was in the kitchen, and honestly, we were just talking. So the one thing that I had to realize was their level of consciousness, because they're in their 20s. So what I realized was, like, early 20s, like, so they're 20 years old, about to be 21. Well, one of them's about to be 21. I think that's a girl, but both of them are 20. So one of them, no, our roommate was talking about, you know, the little baby Young Thug situation and how Atlanta niggas is this, Atlanta niggas is that. So me and my brother, we're not really saying anything because we're not from Atlanta. We're from the outskirts, so we never claimed Atlanta to begin with. But as I hear people talking about this Young Thug and Gunna and Lil Baby shit, people really think as if what happened is what's going on. So I asked this nigga, you really believe the shit that happened with Lil Baby and Young Thug? Yes, nigga. Yeah, that shit's happening, bro. My niggas are snitching. I said, you're sitting here believing shit and you don't even know these people personally. And I asked this nigga, did you call Lil Baby and did you have a conversation with him about who's snitching? He gonna sit here as a joke, cause you know niggas play way too much. He gonna sit here and laugh and say, yes, I was on the phone with Lil Baby and he gave me the whole rundown on what's going on. So I was like, what the fuck was that? This grown ass woman. That's the point of this video. Forgiveness. That's how you should treat life. We just witnessed in first person and in current time, she stopped to look and didn't even say anything. Didn't even acknowledge anything. You're gonna see some more people right there as well. But with forgiveness, you move by it. You have to move around it, work with it. Because once you become intuitive with the thoughts that never happened, you have to always remember, people have to play in what they can't fathom. So as I'm sitting here I'm sorry, y'all. So many things going on in the background. That's exactly why these videos can only get more transparent. You just can't make a lot of this shit up. Like, people be thinking I be lying in my story times or even just in my videos. People are weird. So as I'm sitting here talking to him, I'm like, yo, you really sit here and think as if these people are rappers? And it's like their mind couldn't, not my brothers, because my brother's in two different worlds. He's obviously my little brother, so he understands my videos and where I am in life. But yet, remember, he's only 20 years old. Now, as far as our roommate, he thinks as if what he sees on the internet is what's happening. So it's like the whole paradigm of playing the game all day, sleeping all day, being caked up, doing weird shit. Like, I remember one time, you feel me? And the thing is too, it's not to even bash our roommate or whatever, but I peep things and I forgive. I remember I had pizza one time and he knocked on my door and he said, damn, that's how niggas is moving. This happened like 2 weeks ago. He said, damn, this is how niggas is moving. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he knew you can't do whatever that program, and y'all know what I mean too. You can't make me feel bad for getting food to satisfy my hunger. Remember, all three of us have cars. Why are you mad that I got food for me? For one, my brother should never get mad if I get food without his knowing, because remember, we got the same exact mother. You have a car just like me, and you have money. She'll even give you money. So my brother can't even get mad if I do that. But I always make sure that they eat. So that's why I never get mad. And the thing is too, if I see somebody getting food and I didn't get food or whatever, why would I get mad? I got food in the crib. So that's where I am in life, to where I have to forgive people who aren't on the same exact playing field of consciousness. That's why I stopped giving a fuck about what people do to me and themselves. So as we're having that conversation on that whole discourse, the girl asked, so is there a reason why? Because we were talking about like meat and all that, as far as like chicken, steak and all that, because they said something, like our roommate said something, he was like, oh, wait a minute, you don't even eat meat or whatever. And I don't know why people think as if you can try to shame me into not eating human consumption or even 3D replicated animal products or whatever. So, because I don't feel bad for not eating meat. It's like, I realized that the dead vibrations, they have to find some, what's the word? No, it's not jokes. It's like they have to find this, damn, it works on the tip of my tongue. Not humility, but y'all know what I'm talking about. As a matter of fact, what's the word? People have to find, man, it's not a joke. What's another word for joking in a condescending. My bad, y'all. I'm trying to make sure that I can help you understand where I am in life right now, how I'm realizing this stuff. So patronizing, sneering, mocking. Bingo. Mocking. How did I forget that? But patronizing or sneering. So patronizing means to treat with an apparent kindness that betrays a feeling of superiority, or sneer, to smile or speak in a contemptuous or mocking manner, or a facial expression. Bingo. So sneering. That's when I realized that the girl asked, so is there, and she waited a little bit because I feel like she's studying what we do behind closed doors. A lot of people don't realize that me and my brother are brothers because of the height difference. We had two different dads and all that. So when people see us together, they want to get closer to the circle, because people don't realize, like, they know my brother and his best friend, which is our roommate, but they don't know me. So now when they get closer to them two and around me and they hear how I talk, that's when they start placing themselves in our environment, our auric field. I realize that my auric field gets away from them. Why is that? Because we're in two different simulations, but we live in the same exact simulation. Because in their lifestyle, even with 2K, the 2K conversation, we were talking about 2K as well. And it was dead quiet. And mind you, I'm getting the whole title right for the Young Thug video from yesterday. I was getting a thumbnail going. So I was just I was in the kitchen just working while they're talking this bullshit. So it got dead quiet. This nigga Brian gonna say, I ain't gonna lie, the person who has the highest chance of selling is Darius. And the thing is, if you're gonna make fun of me, at least look me in the eye about your projection. And I told him straight up to his face, looking him dead in his eye. And he had his head facing this way. So I was in the back, I was behind him, like I'm by the chair. My chair's on the wall by the door, and he's in the middle of the kitchen in front of me, facing my brother's room. And so I told him, Brian, stop projecting about how ass you are. And the thing is too, I'm telling him in a way to stop playing with me. Cause even when I first met this nigga, he thought that he could belittle me. That's not gonna work around here. I despise when niggas do that. I don't want to say a woman, but I can just probably tell internally you probably are inverted. I still love this nigga no matter what. But I'm just speaking my mind out loud because I would tell him to his face, because when I brought up to Young Thug as a transgender, he sat there and said, and the thing is too, I triggered what his idolization. He was saying, whoa, we're not gonna go there. No, let's go there. We can sit here and talk about 2K and girls all goddamn day, but yet and still it does nothing for me, only to you. Now my brother, he's sitting here laughing, but he knows that when you get me going, I'm not stopping. And my brother knows that. That's why I stay quiet. Do not piss me off, because I want to be at peace. I want to be in a great mood. But when people try me, even women, when I get in that mode, now all of a sudden, chill. I was just joking. And even in my Bible study, I realized too, somebody I know, they do that as well. And she'll try to play it off like she's joking. And no, I'll tell her to her face as well. Now, I'm not sitting here. The thing is too, I'm just being honest. That's why people don't want to talk to me. Because I am very blunt. I am very aware. I'm very conscious of human programming. Why is that? I used to do these things. So I know people better than themselves. And that's sad. So when people do that and they say I'm just joking, fuck your jokes, because if I want to start joking, I'm the bad guy. Now people start leaving, people start getting mad, people want to fight. Now lives are lost. That's exactly why when he was saying, well, we're not going to do that. No, let's do that. Why are we running away from the conversation? No, we want to have a conversation. If you want to be around me and you want to speak to me, you better be ready for what's to come, because I forgive myself for what I said, because I will say it again and again and again. I can say things more than once because I know why I said it. I know why I said it. And if I don't want to say anything, I won't say it at all. So when she said, the girl asked me, so why don't you eat meat or whatever? And I said, okay, I like this. If I tell you the answer, will you be open-minded without judging? And she said, yeah, I would hope you would be honest with me. I said, okay, I'm gonna be 1000% honest with you. She said, okay, I would want you to. I want to hear it. I said, I am not okay with eating people or humans. Here come the reactions.
What? What? People? Humans? What? You're eating humans?
I don't believe that. And she said, whoa. Now the thing is too with the girl, she ended up saying, I like the way you think because you're being open-minded. And she said, so wait a minute. Do you also think and she's asking me questions like she wants to know more. And why is that? Because the two of them, they can't make her think the way I did. And this was our first time even talking. We've been here for basically a month. And she's gotten access to how I think. So she may start coming over more just for those conversations, because people want to know more in life. But yet, the guys that they're introduced to, they can't bring them to that enlightenment till they come around me. Now all of a sudden people want to be around me, not knowing that their questioning cannot make sense to what they want to make sense of. So they have to be around me in silence when I'm with my brother or his best friend or whatever the case. So after all that discourse, the shit died down or whatever, but I noticed that Brian has this two-faced personality of protecting and defending, but then joking in a certain manner. And that's how a lot of guys connect, which is so weird to me, because I don't want to bring you down to get closer to you. Like that's so weird. That's like dick pulling, for example. It's like, why are you so worried about how I play in 2K? And I told this nigga Brian as well. I said, bro, if you think I'm ass in 2K, play me. Play me in 2K. I've been playing 2K since 2K9. You cannot, from what I've been playing 2K before this nigga was even probably alive. So, or before he was even a thought in his mother's mind, or even conscious in this realm. So this thing was probably Goo Goo Gaga, and I was sitting here playing the game and shit. So By that happening, I played 2K before Park was even a fucking thing. I was playing Crew in 2K11. So because of that, I've always been good at 2K, and it's simple basketball. And niggas think as if the older you get, the more dumb or the more ass you become. It's like, fam, the younger you are still ass. You're still ass at 2K. Niggas sit on the game all day and they still be garbage. I never understood that shit. People think as if you get a zen or because you grind all day, you're better. Bitch, you're only better at the time because you sit there and play the game sun up to sun down. And then when something happened with crossplay as well, and I think on Twitter, the 2K Intel said, yeah, the crossplay is down or whatever. So now people sitting here saying, well, what do we do? I forgive them for that because at that age, all I want to do was play games as well and just start bullshitting. But I never thought to myself to bring the next man down. That was so weird to me. But when it happened, I just told myself, Darius, don't even play into that. Think about where he is in life and think about where he's been. If that's how he plays with his friends, by all means. But you don't know his character. Don't get offended by it. Don't even get into your feelings about it. No, it's all good. Forgive, but always be aware. Because now, when I start joking, it's gonna be a problem. That's why I started roasting people. I stopped joking, I stopped talking down on people because it became too easy. That's why I don't do that shit no more. It's boring as fuck. And two, I don't want to see you feel less. I don't want to see you down and like that. That just does nothing for me. That's so weird. Even when people hurt you or whatever, for example, you're gonna see a car probably pass by, or they're probably gonna be sitting right there. Either way it goes, just ignore them. So what I realize is that when people do things to you, forgive them and what they did to themselves, because a lot of times people will shut down and they won't let go. So when you are able to face the pain, forgiveness, literally. When you're facing the pain, a lot of times people will go numb and they'll think as if they're healing. No, you're shutting yourself down, you're shutting your immune system down, you're shutting your mindset down. Also, I had this picture, a picture from somebody who asked me a great question. Shout out to you, it's whatever 713. You're a new subscriber. I haven't seen you before, but you've been commenting a lot and I appreciate you. And also, I would never get offended by your questions. So you said, are you naturally getting these downloads or are you doing in-depth research? It's both. And I literally told him, I'm doing both. I make learning fun because I don't lean on my own understanding. I get downloads every day, but I enjoy reading and learning regardless of how ignorant it sounds. And then he also asked too, and what would be the reason you believe the research you are reading, if so? Not denying your perspective, just wondering. And you're good because you're genuinely asking. But you're genuinely asking. So my thing is too, I don't believe in anything that I read. But the thing is though, I don't want to come onto the internet and just start spewing out BS. I don't want to start spewing out unconscious teachings because it wouldn't make sense. So for me to align myself, obviously, I had to do my own research. By doing that, I study it, I learn it, I retain it. Once I retain it, I cut the camera on. Not only just that, I ground. Get this, I already got something before I made this video. Did my breath work, got my water, I'm fasting, I ain't eat all day today. So what am I doing right now? I'm being in tune with my spiritual alignment for my higher self. So when I already seen it, already did sun gazing, already ate the sun, consumed the energy of it, and now I'm basically replicating the light body interference that isn't interfering with my consciousness for this video. So once I'm doing all these different things, now it's like I'm able to be in tune with myself in the present moment. So I'm basically killing two birds with one stone. So for example, if I was to have the learning side tackled, but not the spiritual side, my videos would hold no substance. If I had the spiritual side knocked down, but not the 3D simulation knocked down, my spiritual side of these videos would be one-sided. That's boring to me because I used to do that. I used to I wouldn't even have like my laptop or just journals or just notepads or sticky notes on me because I just said, nah. As I got older though, I said to myself, why not learn while you teach yourself? I just said, if I want to learn more, why not put more information, put more key points, and then teach yourself along the way? Literally. So if you want to know that, that's why I do that. That's why I have my laptop off. And a lot of times too, my laptop is open and sometimes I forget I have the key points right in front of me. Literally, it's like I have so much information to where there's no excuses to not get better mentally. That's why I do what I do. So thank you for that question, by the way. And I never get offended by you just wondering. The next part as well, I realized many people escaped, but they never transformed what they were leaving. People will disconnect from their emotional body instead of integrating what has happened. So if you're not getting in tune with what you escaped from as far as your emotions, you're not becoming who you were destined to be, because you had to be aware of where you are being in life, in tune with your emotions, because when you see what happened to you, you may shut down, it may happen, but you have to be able to stay in tune with what has happened, because you escaping is you're leaving yourself behind. So if your inner child, if a young child has been traumatized, they've been hurt to a higher degree, if they don't stay with themselves, if they don't forget themselves, and by allowing themselves to go through that, when they get older, their inner child will look into the future and be like, damn, I still look the same in an adult body. And they don't even know how to overcome what has happened in that moment. That's exactly why when people in the womb of consciousness, when you silence being born into illusions, or I would say what's another word for other words for unconsciousness? So stupefaction, oblivion, insensibility. So when you're living in insensibility, a lot of times people will silence the womb, and then that's when they don't realize that their higher self is still speaking to them. Because remember, their memory that they had of what has transpired, it wasn't solved. So now when it isn't solved, they're gonna bury that thought. And now in their triggers, they wonder why these triggers are showing who they are or what their mask is acting as or reacting as. That's because you buried what you gave birth to. Because what you gave birth to is speaking to you out loud and what's triggering you. But people silence it because they're running away from what they have to start healing. People have to start healing what is being born. Even around your peers, even around your family, even around your friend groups, you never take things seriously when people were born into what they are showing you daily in their mask. A lot of times too, the thing is, somebody will say, bro, I can't agree with you on the forgiveness thing because I'm so used to being hurt. It's like, nah, I can't forget somebody who did this to me or that to me. That's fine. But the thing is though, people will call their pain forgiveness because they want to avoid forgiving what they found pain in. And I realized that people think, and the thing is too, the previous video, people, different word for mask, so I want to keep using that. Other words for mask that people wear. Okay, disguise, a cloak, a face covering, respirator, costume. So, a disguise, a veil. Conceal. So people will conceal. They will conceal their peace in fallacies. When they do that, their resentment will stay lodged in their nervous system and they won't understand why they're sick. People, so for example, there are many people walking around. It can be them, for example, it can be somebody in front of me, for example. People will wear this fallacy and then they will go about life thinking as if they can train what's behind their lies. So they cloak themselves in that lie because they're avoiding what they should have been confronting. People should have confronted what the issue was. That's exactly why when people have an issue with me, I don't give a fuck. I don't even care how you feel about me, nor should I ever put my emotions into why you feel a certain way about how I think. If you think that what's happening in Atlanta is just our fault, so be it. A lot of these people don't even realize what's happening just in their lifestyle as well because they're so blind by what they have learned or what they scroll upon or what they teach themselves. Once I understand too on the healing path, on the things that I do as far as overcoming and working around people who go against themselves. What I used to do and I still do, I revisit those moments by being in awareness, right? So I go back, so how I healed the things that people are fighting against with themselves, excuse me. Do I have hiccups? God damn it. Ew. Okay. So what I realized was that when I go back consciously to that moment that I used to relive in, I understand what was hurting me. Myself. So through all the situations, my bad, the wind blowing and shit. So I make sure this tripod is aligned and all that. So what I realize is that when I go back to these moments, right, and I become aware of what's going on, I understand that the only thing that can hurt me is what I allow to hurt me. So if I allow this car sitting behind me, playing their music, laughing, whatever, living their life, if I let what they're doing hurt me, I'm hurting myself. I'm hurting myself in the process because remember, they can drive. And the thing is, I'm gonna be real with y'all. They can drive all over this bitch, anywhere, and they decide to sit right here. So once you understand that, and then it's too, that's why I love life because you can do whatever you want. But once you see common courtesy or even common decency, if I'm in this car and I see somebody going to work, I'm gonna say to myself, you know what? Let me just park over here, and that's just my programming. People think differently, and that's why I forgive human beings. And we're all in the human experience, so I can't sit here and say I'm not a human being as well, but I'm being human, I'm not the human being. I'm just experiencing the human fallacy that other people are living in as well. So by doing that, remember to go on a path of healing, because remember, if you don't want to forgive, you're not on the path of healing. All you're doing is forgetting how to forget the things that you should have been healing yourself into. If you can't forgive yourself on the path of healing, then you'll never be healed. And if you don't heal what you should have forgiven or forgave, then you'll come right back into what you should have forgiven in your past life. So it's your fault if you end up back here. That's why everything that has been going on, like I tell y'all, every day life is a fucking movie. I just so happen to capture it in real time. So when the cameras are not on, imagine what I have to witness every single day. The next thing that I told myself, let the emotions move through your ego. Cry, shout, laugh, dance. Shit, do the Dougie. Do a backflip, go to a trampoline park, journal. What else? Debate, conversate, create. When you do these different things, you can release the energy that was frozen in your body. Because remember, these things can freeze your immune system, even anger, for example, or even suppressed thoughts. If I let the opinion of others stop me from creating videos, I'm dead on the inside, to where I'm letting my life pass me by because I'm thinking about what happened yesterday. Yesterday does not even remember what happened today. So why would I care about what happened yesterday when today is all that matters? Makes no sense, right? Let the emotions move through you, because when I understood people going against me, a lot of times that triggers my ego. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, it triggers me because I do so much intuitive work. I do so much silence, so much shadow work every single day. And yet, when people think as if they know it all, I come into the picture. I question what they know. And now all of a sudden, it gets quiet. The conversation dies down. Now what do? Go right back into my room and start doing more research. Do you know how hard it is to have a decent conversation with people who think they know what they think they know? Whole entire time, they have no idea what they think they know, even though their knowing never knew they're knowing. That's why it gets just difficult to even have a normal conversation, because normal conversations are boring. So when I want to expand my consciousness and stimulate my mind, people can't even tend to do that for me. So why should I depend on them to do it for me when I gotta do it for myself? The next one, name the truth that lies in what you couldn't even name in the labeling of a name that never had a name. Name the things that hurt you and say what is hurting you. the things that hurt me supposedly or what hurt my ego or trigger it are unconscious programs that never did their research but depend on social media to rely on what they had to agree with but never question. That's exactly why forgiveness can begin. Excuse me, by the way. Forgiveness can begin when your truth becomes honored. So the thing is too, I honor doing my work behind closed doors. That's exactly why I don't care if you're the smartest person in this realm. You cannot tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about. And why is that? Because I have no idea what I'm talking about. Bottom line, by saying that to you. So you can't tell me nothing. Ever. Again. But I'll let you speak your piece though, and we can have a conversation. But if we're arguing, if we're shouting, you got it, bro. I don't care that much. I don't give a fuck, honestly. That's the craziest part. So once you name that, when you say the things that hurt you, you name them, replay them. Did it really hurt you? Or are you naming how you hurt yourself? Once you take accountability, you can now honor the things that can never hurt you besides yourself. The next one that I think as well really helped me on my journey as well. Forgiveness comes from being in wholeness or in 0-point unity. Stop denying your unified consciousness that is unconscious. Having forgiveness can happen when your emotions are felt, not before the feeling of feeling the emotion. Remember, when you feel the emotions, you can now be in wholeness by not denying what you have to forgive. It hurts to say, man, what they did, like somebody abused you, neglected you, abandoned you, whatever. It's hard to say, I want to forgive them. I know. But remember, somehow, some way, somebody won't agree with me, but you chose that to happen. What? I chose me getting abused to happen to me. No, I'm unsubscribing from you. Good. I forgive you for that. Bye. Bye. Because why? And I swear to God, if they park right here too, oh, I'm gonna lose my shit. I'm gonna lose my shit. So the thing I noticed too was that, once you understand that, what the fuck are you looking at? You see what I'm saying? Like, niggas got that girl and shit right next to them, and yet you focused on me. Shit crazy. So, exactly. Comical. Even the geese is laughing over there. That shit's stupid. Stupid as fuck. I know. Crazy, right? So, now I think it's too, because I didn't want to skip too far. Okay. But yeah, stop denying feeling your emotions. I feel like you're dead if you can't feel your emotions and you're a robot. Because niggas will be like, or guys will be like, people who are falsely awakened, they'll tell themselves, oh, you're emotional for feeling your emotions. If you don't feel your emotions, you're artificial intelligence. And the thing is, so we are all the observation of artificial intelligence, but if you are observing what you can't feel, then you can't even feel yourself being authentic in this reality. So you're not even conscious of your own reality. That means that you're controlled by a hive mind that has put a virus in your nervous system to where who you are and being unified with source has depleted and transitioned to a whole different life that watches you forget who you are. Simple. Now the last thing as well, how I was able to be in tune as far as like, you know, avoiding the things that people go up against. So I just want to make sure too I got all my key points and all that. So yeah, I want to go back, yeah. With the first part, so when you go back to that moment by being in awareness, journal. When you go through something, right? Journal or even record how that moment made you feel. And never have to send a message to censor it. So like, don't go against yourself for what you've seen. Talk about it to yourself. And when you're, and this is for the part, yeah, so the awareness part for the healing path. So I think I skipped over that, so I want to go back to that. So when you do that and you journal, you create a video, you do whatever you got to do. You can now, when you go back and revisit that moment, you can read what never happened. But if it happens again, you can show it for you. Because then you don't have to come back into what you have to forgive. Because why is he staring at me? Why is this nigga staring at me? But I can't make this shit up, bro. But you see what I'm saying, though? I have to work on it as well, because this stuff, it happens constantly, but it's just so weird because people don't know how weird or how unconscious they are. But remember, journal, go for a walk, just sit in silence, go observe. Just observe. And once you do that, the next part, you had to be able to feel peace and not pretend to avoid what you can find peace in. When you stop pretending that you are in peace, you don't avoid it anymore. Because remember, you're sitting with it, you're being in tune with it. When you can feel yourself not being in denial of what you experience. My bad, y'all. I just like sitting in silence, and I want to get up and move, but I enjoy this spot. You can't move me from my center. So let's just stay centered in unconsciousness. No matter what you do, no matter what you go through in life, and shout out to their family, by the way. It's very beautiful to have the mom and the dad and their child just being together. You know, honestly, families should start doing that more, just being in peace. Hopefully I don't get copyrighted for the music. If I do, but with forgiveness, it takes time. It's like mastering a skill or sharpening the things that you do in your mindset or your dojo. Wherever you are, you have to be able to understand why forgiveness can forgive itself. And it can't forgive itself till you start doing what you can to forgive yourself for what has happened in your life. The things that happen in your life are choices that we consciously chose by playing the game. In the higher worlds of astral, ethereal, celestial, quantum simulations, the real world has no form, and we play with form in a game that has no form. That's why we are the video game creators of our lifestyle. So basically right now, from what I can see my nature outside the void of what I'm playing in subconsciously, because subconsciously, my body right now is aware of the teachings, is aware of the awakenings, is aware of the enlightenment. By that happening, I can put myself in different directions of where my teachings can go. And why is that happening? Because I know that I've been here before. So by that happening, when things are transpiring, let the emotion fade, let it run through, because everything we are doing is just witnessing how we can overcome it and how we can move through it by not feeling some kind of way about that. Once you feel a certain way about your emotions, how are they emotionally feeling for today? That's the thing, because your emotions do not know how emotional they're being, because you put the being of the emotion into action. So when you sit there, you sit still and you say, why do I feel this way? How am I feeling this way? And what can I do to overcome that? What should I be doing? Now you're asking the right questions for yourself. Now you're doing things that can help you move along into the journey that can now help you get to a higher elevation for ascension. Because that ascension can only come when you see the healing property that you have to start putting into your structured life, by going into formation, by being in ascension, by wanting to be in tune with your present moment. In that present moment, to forgive, you have to forget what never happened, but never forget what is happening in the moment. Because when you do, people will remember that every time they witness how you reacted, what you said, and how honest you are, they'll have to backtrack on their thoughts and say to themselves, you know what? When I said this thing, that sparked off their honesty. I don't like that. I like that person, but I don't want to spark off their honesty. And once you stay honest with everybody else, they have to start respecting you. They got to tell themselves, hey, if I don't show up as my honest self or my best self, this person may snap on me because I'm not being myself. I'm not being honest with myself. That's how you know you are where you are in life, because you don't take shit from nobody. And I'm not sitting here saying, like, for example, if somebody was to abuse me, neglect me, or somebody was to, shit on me, hurt me, or whatever, it's hard to forgive them for that, for sure. But what I do know is you're forgiven in higher realms, not by me, but from somebody else. So it's like, I forgive you, but fuck your existence. And the worst will happen to you. So I'm not going to sit here and be an advocate for like forgiveness to an extent, because remember, should I forgive occultic societies for what they have done to humanity? Should I forgive my people being enslaved? Should I forgive social media for making lies go viral and people believe in them? Should I forgive family members trafficking my consciousness in realms called Freemasonry? Should I forgive my reflections dumbing down their consciousness to seek validation? Should I forgive people wanting to put on clothes just to satisfy a man's validation? Should I forgive somebody for getting mad because I don't want to go party or I don't want to go have sex with girls every day? Should I forgive somebody for telling me I'm this or I'm that the whole entire time they're talking about themselves? I should and I shouldn't, and I will and I won't. Either way it goes, forgiveness has to do with where you are in life. So what are you going to be doing about your forgiveness in life? Because if you don't do it, you will have to work in the next life on forgiveness again. And I refuse to come back to this world that can't forgive itself for the unconscious actions that they allow themselves to do every single day by what they think is hurting them subconsciously. Have a great Nirvana Divine Reflection. Can't believe niggas blew up the spot and shit.